Hey everybody, and welcome to day 21 of the Woman of Wealth and Worth Summit. You guys, I'm so excited. So incredibly excited for today. Today you are going to learn all the things. We have a beautiful woman who we're featuring today with a powerful interview. She is all about, she's so in alignment with what the Woman of Wealth and Worth is all about. And what we talk about is that the woman of wealth and worth, she is powerful. She is courageous. And she is abundant. So if you are ready to step into all of that and more, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to come back on. I'm going to share a little bit with you after the interview. This interview is about, let me see what we write down, 33 minutes. So it's a little bit lengthy, but it's definitely worth it, you guys. It is worth it. It is powerful. And you are going to just soak up so much wisdom. It's going to be amazing. So let me pop that in real quick. And then I will come back and I will share with you a little bit. And I also have an exciting announcement for you as well. So stick around to the end, because I'm going to share something with you guys that is going to be super duper duper exciting. So let me bring this up real quick. When you hop on, let me know that you're here, my beauty loves. Let me know that you're here so I can say hello. And with no further ado, I would like to introduce to you Nicole, and I might say this wrong because I'm not ethnic, Nicole Michal Vahlkamp.
We can see how when that time you got fired or that time that relationship ended or whatever that struggle is, you look back and you're always like, yeah, that was for my highest good. But sometimes when we're in it, we lose that perspective, and that's okay. That's being human. So that's why we have coaches, we have groups, we have programs, we have people to remind us, to bring us back to that place of like, oh yeah, like this is really happening for my benefit. And that doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time.
Hey guys, welcome to the Woman of Wealth and Worth, where we are talking all about creating a business and a life of your wildest dreams. My name is Val Nichols. I am your host, and today we have a very special guest. She has a magnetic energy, a calming presence that just inspires you and helps you to create your wildest dreams. She is the Miracle Maker Mentor. We have today Nicole Michal. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Val. It's so exciting to be here. And I think you have a magnetic energy. So thank you. Right back at you.
Hey, oh my gosh, we are in for a powerhouse interview here today, then. Whoop, whoop. So I am curious to know if you could let the audience know just like a little bit more about you. Who's your ideal audience? What are you all about?
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Yeah, it's always evolving. Like we were just talking about offline, it's always kind of pivoting and a work in progress. What I do is I am a miracle maker and mentor, which means I help my clients create the unexpected, or create or call in that thing that just seems like it was impossible. It was beyond reach. It's like that thing that you've been trying to achieve for oh so long in your life, in your business, whatever it is. And you're like, oh, for me to get over this or for me to move beyond this would take a miracle. So I have a course called Creating a Life of Miracles, and I teach you how to do that, how to bring into your life whatever it is you feel stuck around so you can shift it. And I also work one-on-one with business coaching clients, so other coaches who want to coach and grow their coaching business. I have a background in finance and digital marketing, so I use that to empower my coaching clients so that they can also create their own groups, their own programs, their own online courses, and offer that to the world, get their voice and their message out there.
I love it. And that is so much in alignment with when I was looking at your stuff, when I asked you to be a part of this summit, I was just like, oh my gosh, so in alignment, because, the Woman of Wealth and Worth is really like three pillars. She's powerful, she's courageous, and she's abundant. And I love your steadfast in that abundance and that miracle creation and the manifesting energy. Because I feel like, and let me know if this is true for you too, a lot of times as business women in the online space, especially if we come from a corporate background, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if we come from a corporate background, we get so caught up in, we were talking about this before we pressed record, you know, the structure and the strategy and the hustle, that I am just in love with your message of manifesting. And it feels like a very like feminine flow energy. How did you get into that?
Yeah, great question. Life taught me. So I think that I don't know so much about your story. I know that you were also in corporate and I was also in corporate, so we have that in common. I think that I always had a structure and a plan for what my life would look like many of us do, right? Like, I'll be married by this age, I'll be making X amount of money by this age, I will be, and you know, I'll have kids by this age, whatever it is. And life doesn't always go that way, right? I mean, not always. Like, life rarely goes the way we planned it out to go, right? That would just be our plan. That wouldn't be life. So through that process, I think I have a journey through yoga. I'm also a yoga teacher. I think gradually, once I started realizing, you know, these plans that I had, first of all, they're not necessarily coming true exactly the way I designed them. And also, when they do kind of align with what I designed, it wasn't making me happy anyway. So I realized that if I was going to actually enjoy my life, I needed to paradigm shift. So that kind of kicked off what I would call like a spiritual seeking journey for myself. And I started learning that when I work with the energy of what the universe wants me to have, rather than the energy of what I want to have, that's when my life becomes beyond my wildest dreams. So I actually intentionally call it miracle making and not manifestation. I use the term manifestation sometimes because people understand what manifestation is, but it's miracle making because there's a component there that's not just us. It's not only up to us. And sometimes things go in directions that you had never planned. Like, for example, my boyfriend and I are moving to Santa Cruz in a month. This was zero on our plans. We have been in Florida. He's been in Florida 20 years. I've been in Florida 3 years. We were like totally planning to stay in Florida like indefinitely. We had zero plans to move. And throughout this COVID process, things got turned upside down. And today we're both saying like, wow, what a miracle. We never would have done this on our own. We never would have taken this leap to move halfway across the country, but both of us feel in our hearts like there's like literally nothing better that we could be doing for ourselves right now, you know? So that's like that energy of allowing what comes and making whatever miracle you can with it, as opposed to being like, if it doesn't go my way, it's not right, it's not a miracle, it's not aligned. And I think that shift resonates with people because so many people try the manifestation, you know, process and it doesn't work. And they're like, why isn't it working? You know, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't my manifestation work? And I'm not about that. I believe it's always working. It's just a matter of our perception and our energy around it, if that makes sense.
That does. Oh my gosh. And I am just so lit up by that. I am so excited to hear you explain it that way, because, you know, that's something that I myself personally, and I think a lot of people do get kind of like hooked onto the idea of manifestation. And then there's this other extreme of like, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. If it's, you know, or there's an idea that like everything's preordained and you have no choice. But what I'm hearing is this like beautiful balance of like a co-creation energy with like source, God, the universe, and then yourself as well. And that seems so much more feasible, I guess is the right word for me to understand that. So like, I've never heard it explained that way. And I love that because I do believe there's a give and take. Like no one, you know, how did you create COVID in your life? Like nobody created that, right? Or how do you create these situations where people are now laid off or having to shift their businesses? Like, but it gives you that, what I'm hearing and what you say is you help people be in their power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like you, I think, when you came to me and you said, this is the woman of wealth and worth, or worthiness, the woman of wealth and worth, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, that's so important that you add on that component of worth, that it's not just about wealth. It's not just about us getting what we think we want. Like you said, none of us like wanted COVID in our lives, and we didn't do anything wrong that brought it about. Life just happens. Life is going to bring us the lessons we need to learn. I truly believe that. I have in my process gone away from any kind of binary terms of like success or failure. I mean, success is what you want success to be, but failure to me is just a lesson. So if we're standing if we believe in our worthiness, we believe in the abundance of the universe, we believe that the universe is always trying to help us, and in every situation, no matter how difficult, we can always ask the question, what am I learning here? How am I growing through this? How is this an opportunity for me to demonstrate those qualities of what I really want to embody as a person? Perseverance, faith, resilience, belief in myself, whatever those qualities are that we're trying to develop. I think we all know we develop them most when times are difficult, right? But it starts with that kind of primary concept of like, this is happening for my benefit and I didn't do anything wrong. My life isn't because if something goes wrong in my life, it's not because I'm bad or I'm wrong or I did something wrong. It's because I have a lesson to learn. For me, that feels much better. I teach it because I want to, because I believe it. I don't want to feel like, oh, I'm not doing it right or whatever. There's enough of that, There's plenty of people who tell you you're doing it wrong. I believe that as women, we're here to tell each other you're doing a good job.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love, love, love that. And your message resonates so much in the fact that you talked about, as women, there's enough of that negativity, which is really interesting because something that really pulled me into entrepreneurship was the fact that there was a lot of like in corporate world, like a lot of women like seeing each other as like competition or afraid of each other. Yeah. And I think that really builds the conversation of to bounce back a little bit to what you said before, that feeling. And I'm thinking about the woman right now who is probably hearing this because I hear this so much. And she's thinking, yeah, I thought I would be here by now.
Yeah.
I thought I would be here. I mean, how often do you hear that? Mm-hmm. What would you say to that woman?
Yeah. That's such a good question. And I'm sure that there are people who are feeling that as they watch this and maybe even thinking like, well, easy for you to say, that you see everything as being good and the universe is helping you. And maybe they might think like, well, you don't understand. This is what people sometimes say to me, sometimes in a negative way, but I understand the pain that's underneath it. Like, well, maybe it's easy for you to say that everything is working out for your benefit because your life looks so easy, but that's actually not my story. Mm-hmm. And I am very open in my, content with my story. But I would say to that person that whatever's going on in your life right now, it really is for your benefit. It might not seem that way. I know it's a stretch. You might want to slap me across the face and be like, you're full of shit. And at the same time, I really, really believe it is for your benefit. And I think that when most of us look back on hard times that we've gone through, we can see how it was for our benefit. We can see how it was shifting us into a new energetic place. And we could see how it was shifting us sometimes into a new physical place. Like we're going to Santa Cruz. That is a big shift for us. We can see how when that time you got fired or that time that relationship ended or whatever that struggle is, you look back and you're always like, yeah, that was for my highest good. But sometimes when we're in it, we lose that perspective, and that's okay. That's being human. So that's why we have coaches, we have groups, we have programs, we have people to remind us, to bring us back to that place of like, oh yeah, like this is really happening for my benefit. And that doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time. Like mm-hmm. you can be in a bad mood. COVID's been tough. There are many days where people are in bad moods. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong or that you're going to screw up your manifestation because you had some bad days, Mm-hmm. I don't believe that. That's not true in my life. I've had bad days. I still have a life beyond my wildest dreams. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that's something that, my intention in creating this summit specifically is that I think it can be really easy for people to, social media, you see the highlight reel, right? And there's women who are willing to pull down that cover a little bit more and reveal the truth. But I think it's really easy for people to see someone who's gone through the dark night of the soul, who's gone through the work that you don't see but underneath, the posts and the things. And something I really want to press upon people's heart is each one of the women, yourself included, you are a real human being who's been through stuff. You've probably cried in your pillow. You've had the heartbreaks. You've had the struggles. You've probably wanted to give up more times than you want to count. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I love that you're transparent in that, because that's something I really want women to take to heart, that there's no difference between you and me and you and them and us.
Right. Yeah, that's a very powerful message. And it's beautiful that you're creating that community with the people watching the summit, with the people who are in your programs, to have places where we could be really transparent and vulnerable and authentic. That is our greatest strength. It's also the scariest thing to be, right? Because we all are kind of concerned with what people are going to think of us.
Mm-hmm.
But by projecting an image of everything being perfect, we also do a disservice to all of the people who we could help. So for me, like I'm very transparent, because I see that as the way that it was other people being transparent with me that allowed me to evolve and to see like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not an alien. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with me. Like, it removed all the shame that I had when I heard other people had been through something similar to me. And as a result of that, I felt safe to evolve. I was like, oh, like this isn't who I have to be forever. Maybe I can still be sad, but also still see my life as going somewhere good. Maybe there's a miracle, right, that's in store for me. Maybe I just haven't gotten there yet. And that's what gave me the strength really to persevere through the difficult times in my life. And so when I tell my story, I am always thinking of the person who's in that place of like, I need a miracle. Like, I just don't see any way out of this. And I can hold that space for them to have a miracle because other people have held space for me to have a miracle. So that, I think, is key to remember when you're looking at social media. And maybe don't look too much at social media. It might not be good. It's okay to take a break and to have one or two people who you follow whose message really resonates with you, and let go of the rest of the people if you feel like they're not being authentic. That's okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's such a good message, because that's something that, I did in the beginning of my online business. I was like watching all the people and all the things, and I just like literally got so overwhelmed. Next thing you know, you're in your emails filled with all of these webinars you don't even remember signing up for, and you're like frazzled.
Yeah.
And that's, today, like, people are like, oh, do you know so-and-so, what so-and-so is doing, and so-and-so, and I'm like, no, honestly, like, I just go within and follow that truth, not everybody else.
Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, we're all finding what works for us. I still, if I hear too much noise, will start to feel bad about myself and be like, oh my God, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. And then I have to come back to center and be like, no, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. That's one of my big kind of like universe, like laws of the universe. Like, I believe we're all exactly where we're supposed to be. There's no such thing as like, they did this and I haven't done it, or I should have done. I don't believe in shoulds. It's like, we are where we're supposed to be. I'm exactly where my higher power and the universe want me. And if I look and start comparing myself to other people, that means I've like lost a little bit of the connection with myself. So I think it's easy to happen no matter where you are. I mean, I've been doing this. I've had my own business for 7 years. I've been coaching full time for 2. I can still get pulled out of the energy of really knowing what's right for me. And so during COVID, I did a cleanse of like social media. So I'm posting, but I'm not scrolling. I'm not looking. I'm only posting, what is true for me. And that's helpful. Like, it just is. It helps me stay in my lane, focused on my message. And that doesn't mean you don't interact with your clients or with the people who want to interact with you. Of course, like, respond to the comments and have the conversations. That's different though than like mindlessly scrolling through and just being like, oh, how come it looks so good for this person or that person? Or how come they're launching a course and I'm not launching a course? Or they're doing this and I'm so far behind. Like, that'll never, that's another form of the ego actually just trying to bring us down, like another negative story. So it's great that you bring that message out to people and maybe give your clients or the people who follow you permission to just go within, like you said.
Love that. And you talked about, when you feel that, and I think there's a lot, I know through conversations, right now, a lot of people are feeling lost, and a lot of people are feeling very, I guess, like the helplessness, or, maybe just like a little bit of real deep overwhelm of like, when is this going to end? When is this, all of these, there's so much noise right now in our country, especially around the world. And I'm wondering, for the woman who's like, yeah, I feel that. And you say, I bring myself back to center, but she's like, how?
Yeah.
How do someone that has never practiced this, they don't know yoga, they don't know how to do that. Like, what do you recommend for someone who's like just learning? How do they bring themselves back to center?
Yeah, it's super simple. All you have to do is take 5 minutes in your day and sit by yourself without any distractions. Put a timer on the phone for 5 minutes and spend 5 minutes with yourself just breathing. And it's not like a guided meditation. I am giving you some free meditations. You can do those, to get yourself to center, but you don't even need my meditations. My meditations are great. I love them. People love them. And you don't need them. All you need is a few minutes alone with yourself. And I think when we take those few minutes every day, I actually learned this from Dr. Svoboda, who's an Ayurvedic and yoga teacher, and he has this amazing book on health and wellness for women. Even though he's a man, he wrote something really profound for women. And I interviewed him as part of a summit that I created a few years ago. And I think I asked him the same question you just asked me. And he was the one who said, just spend a few minutes with yourself. Just spend 5 minutes with yourself every day. You don't need to do this cleanse. You don't need to do this long meditation. You don't need to go into the forest by yourself. Like, maybe you will one day. That's great. But for right now, if all you want to do is come back to center, then practice checking in with yourself, which means 5 minutes a day. And then gradually, I think that 5 minutes a day becomes 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, or 5 minutes multiple times throughout the day. Anytime I start to, now I'm super self-aware about where my emotions are. So if something goes wrong that I'm not feeling good about, or I can tell that I'm like having a negative feeling, I will try to stop whatever it is I'm doing and take those 5 minutes to be like, okay, what's going on here? What do I need to shift? Why am I feeling bad? Because I think so many of us feel bad and we try to rush through it and cover it up, like, oh, let me go to the next meeting. Oh, let me just like eat some chocolate really fast. Let me watch Netflix. At the end of the day, all you want to do is watch Netflix. Like, we just try to rush through the negative emotion as opposed to being like, okay, why am I feeling bad? What thought am I having that's telling me that something is wrong here? And just come back to center. So I would say keep it simple. Just start spending some time with yourself,
That is so good. And I just want to say this because like, I'm thinking of if there's another woman out there feeling this, that sounds so simple, right? Like, spend time with yourself. But I remember, 10 years ago, before I started this journey that I'm on now, I remember like having no idea who this person was in the skin.
Yeah, totally.
Like, if someone said, I remember a spiritual mentor of mine being like, meditate. And I'm like, so afraid, because like I was the type of person, I'd have my phone, the TV would be on, there's a radio playing. Like, I did not like the silence. It scared me.
Yeah.
And what you said is so beautiful, because it sounds so simple, and it makes such a huge difference to just know yourself.
Yeah, totally. It's not easy. I mean, how could you know yourself, right? How much time had you really spent with yourself before then? Probably not much. We're not taught, at least, I mean, I was kind of taught. My mom meditated, but it wasn't like an overwhelming message probably for you. It wasn't for me to like, really get to know yourself. So how could you? You weren't doing anything wrong, you just had never been really told. Like, none of us were told, especially as women, like, what do you want? I mean, how many of us are used to asking other people, what do you want? What do you want to eat? Well, what do you want to eat? Well, where do you want to go on vacation? Where do you want to go on vacation? Like, it's a practice to be like, I want to eat this. I like this. I want to go here, and not be afraid that the other person's not going to like your choice, going to criticize it, going to say, oh no, we can't do that, or override it with their own decision, their own preference. So yeah, I mean, it's work. It's it's work. It's simple, but not easy. That's like my favorite line about spiritual teachings, is like, they're all simple and they're not easy, but they're not impossible. I mean, it's not easy to make that time like to spend with yourself, but you can do it, right? I mean, you did it 10 years ago. Somehow you started to find a way to spend time with yourself. Right? I mean, maybe it was taking a bath. I know you like being outside. Maybe you're like, oh, I like being outside. Maybe you didn't know that for a long time. I don't know. I didn't know for myself what I liked.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember people being like, what do you like to do? What's your hobbies? And I'm like, I work. I make money. What?
Yeah.
What's a hobby?
Yeah, work is my hobby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with us for being that way. I don't think the worst thing we could do is get hard, be down on ourselves. It's a process. Like, oh, let me get to know myself. And that's just something like simple. Like, do you like taking baths? Okay, then make it a point to take a bath every day, to spend that time with yourself. Do you like taking walks? Like, people ask me, my clients always ask me, but like, tell me how, Nicole, like, what's the magic bullet, you know? And I'm like, that's the work. You have to find for yourself what it is that works for you. Some people will tell you, do this morning journaling and you will have the perfect life. Do this meditation, you'll have the perfect life. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. Like, that journaling exercise might work for you, but it might not work for me, or I might not connect to journaling. Some people love meditation, some people don't. Some people like hiking, some people don't. So that's the work of getting to know what works for each of us. And that's actually how we built up our worthiness, right? Like, that's so connected. Like, how can we have self-worth if we don't know who we are, if we don't like who we are? That's why I think so many of us feel empty so often. And we like self-worth, we can't even have self-worth because we feel so empty because we don't even know who we are really. And that's not bad or wrong. That's just the beginning of a journey that's going to be really great if you go on it, because then you get to know yourself and you find that inner strength in you. Like, you know that you can go anywhere in the world and be okay. That, to me, like, that's my goal for every woman. You can get dropped off in any place in the world by yourself and you will be okay. Because you know that you are okay. You know that you can do it no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, you're going to be okay. To me, that's like, that should be all of our goals, because then we're not waiting for anyone to come save us anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. When you say that, it speaks to my soul, because I'm like, I think I spent most of my 20s waiting for somebody to come like rescue me.
Yeah.
I learned that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm my own superhero. I don't need anybody to rescue me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's super empowering. And sometimes you have to go through tough stuff to get there. I mean, if we didn't go through those difficult times, we wouldn't get to see our own strength. We wouldn't get to acknowledge our own resilience. So when those really difficult things happen, we can say to our higher power, to the universe, like, thank you for bringing me this difficulty. It's showing me how strong I am. And that's like, well, what's better than that, you know? Really nothing. All the money in the world can be lost, but your own inner strength is never going anywhere.
I love that you said that, because speaking of, you know, the woman of wealth and worth, like, I think there's a lot of women out there, and myself included, you know, that thinking, when you think about like financial success or wealth or whatever that is, like, they somehow think getting to a certain number is going to like fix everything in their life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm so conflicted about what I see being taught about wealth, because so many times it focuses on like X amount of money and X amount of time. And I definitely want people to make X amount of money, you know, times 10, times 100 in whatever time they need. And I also want them to be okay if the money doesn't come, because you are okay if the money doesn't come. And one thing I remind myself around wealth in my own life is I always have as much as I need. And that was true when I was making $1,000 a month. And that is true for my $12,000 a month months. And, you know, wherever I'm headed, it's still true. And when people hear me say that, they're like, but really? Like, did you really have as much as you needed? And I think back and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I always made it work. Yeah. Somehow. Because I knew that I would be okay. I would find a way to make it work. And if you can make it work at $1,000 a month or $3,000 a month or whatever number you're at, then when you get to those months where you're making 15K, 20K, 50K, whatever it is, I've never had that a 50K month, but when you get there, it's like, if you didn't make it, you would still be okay. And I think the worst thing that could happen is you start to make money, but you don't yet feel okay in yourself. So then if you lose the money, it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do without the money? And then you really get this crisis around the loss of money. But if you know that you were okay at $1,000 a month, like, that can be a huge asset. And I think for whatever partner you have, if you have the goal of being in a relationship, I had this goal of being in a relationship for so long. And like, I'm 36 now. I only found my partner 2 years ago. But by the time I had been through so many iterations of myself and my life and so many different levels of income that I think it was really great for him to not have the pressure of someone I didn't need him to take care of me. And I was like, no matter how much money we have, we're going to be okay. And he was like a little skeptical at first, like, really? Like, do you really mean that? And I was like, yeah. And life has brought us circumstances where I got to put my money where my mouth is and be like, yeah, we're okay, no matter how much money we're making. So when we do that for ourselves, it also becomes attractive for other people because they can sense that our energy is self-supporting. And I think for me, it's all about that. Like, how can I be self-supporting in every area of my life? And that includes wealth, which is what you're teaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What you said just like perfectly embodies this entire summit. Like, that's so cool. Because
Awesome.
you know, like the wealth, not just being the financial wealth, but like feel that mindset of like having enough or not having it. Because as an entrepreneur, like it's not always consistent.
No,
COVID,
totally not.
all these things happen. And there's, you know, you take time off and all of these things.
Oh yeah, so hard to go on vacation as an entrepreneur. I don't know if I didn't take vacation for the whole first year of my business, like when I switched to coaching. And then I met my boyfriend and he wanted to travel all over. And I was like so nervous about going away for a whole week. And my coach was like, oh, you haven't taken any vacation? You should take tons of vacation. Because I hadn't been sharing with her about that aspect, like my fears around taking time off, because that was something I was still trying to control. Like I was still trying to control my work because I thought that if I wasn't working, I wouldn't make money. Funnily enough, a lot of times when you stop working so hard in that way, the money flows in unexpected ways. But I didn't want to take any kind of vacation for that first year. I was terrified to let go.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Same. My boy, well, he's my husband now, but like he taught me how to actually take breaks. And like we took all last week off a week before summit, like one of my biggest summits, you know, and it was fine today, but you know, a while ago, no way. Like it just didn't happen. I didn't know what a vacation was.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's your progress, you know, and you can share that with your clients. And when you see them not taking vacations, you can kind of like guide them through that. That's how I see everything we do as coaches. It's like whatever our experience is, we get to use it to guide other people.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So I know that you do have an amazing offer for our listeners today, the Manifesting Meditation Bundle. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you go to the first page, what you're going to get is a free manifestation guide. And this is a process that you do with journaling where you write out what it is you desire and what the blocks are that hold you back. And then if you continue through the process, you keep going through the cart. When you get to the cart for the meditations, I have a coupon code for you so you can get these 2 meditations for free. And one is the higher self meditation, which is a meditation that everyone who does loves. It's where you get to go meet a version of yourself who I call as your higher self, you know, your soul self, and any guidance you need, that higher self has for you. And so I take you through a meditation to meet that higher self so you can get the guidance you need from within, because that's like a lot of what we've been talking about, right? So the higher self meditation is in that bundle, and also the manifesting meditation, which is really about feeling the feelings of calm, of excitement, of whatever it is you're desiring to manifest, because it really is about the feeling. And it's like when you act as if, I love the act as if principle. When you act as if, when you feel as if it's already here, it comes that much quicker. So that meditation is really about shifting you into the energy of what you want already being here, present. And I know that you probably won't stay there. I don't. I do the meditation and then I come back and I'm shifted for a little while and then I have to do it again. But that's okay. That's the practice. We're always shifting. So those 2 meditations are in the bundle, and there's a coupon code for you to get those for free to go along with the journaling prompts. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that generous gift. And I know a lot of people are going to want to download that.
Oh, good.
And I'm sure that people are going to want to find you out there in the world too. So where can people find you?
Yeah, on my website, NicoleMichal.com. And if you want to work together, you can book a free consultation with me. I also have a retreat coming up in October. That's on the website. God willing that, you know, we're still able to go in October, but I'm pretty confident we'll go sometime this year, you know, before before the end of 2020. And then on Instagram, Nicole Michal Miracle Coach is my Instagram handle. So I would love to connect. I love when people send me messages. I would love to connect with your community because you're just so aligned with the messages of wealth and worthiness. So I would love to hear from your community.
Thank you so much. Wow, you've really added an extra energy and a spark in a conversation to the summit that is just beautiful. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Val, and I wish you the most success with your summit. It's super exciting. Thank you for all your hard work. I know doing summits is not easy. It seems, easy, but it is a lot of work. So thank you for putting this together for people.
Thank you. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh my goodness, ladies, this chat is lit. And Alicia, I don't know if you're watching still, but I want to show you that I'm wearing your necklace you gave me today. I just love this necklace, Alicia Hope, Hoppy? Hope. I think it's Hoppy, but now I think you're going by Hope. But yeah, isn't this beautiful, this necklace she gave me? So yes, ladies, this chat is lit. You guys are making this so much fun. I just love, oh, you are on here. Good, good, good. I just loved talking to Nicole Michal. I always say her name wrong, but yeah, I love talking with her. She is so, like, we think exactly the same. It was really cool connecting with her, and she is so beautiful and gorgeous. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed that process, enjoyed that conversation. I want to connect with you and talk to you guys a little bit about, watching this. I choose hope. I love it. I missed some of the live, but we'll catch all I can. Yes, yes, yes. You can. The replay will be in here. So absolutely check in and find out, watch the whole thing. It's a little bit longer than usual. It's about 33 minutes. It looks like my assistant wrote that up there, 33, 36. So 33 minutes. And it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to be raffling off a prize. Speaking of baths, I love that she talked about bubble baths because that's why I give away so many of the bath bombs and all of that, because self-care, really celebrating yourself. We talked about this yesterday, Kelly, but really celebrating yourself and really enjoying the celebration energy and all of that, getting in your body and feeling is so important, especially when you're talking about manifestation. And for anyone that knows me, you know that I love to talk about all things business, money, and manifestation. Those are my three things that I just love to talk about. So yeah, she did make this. Alicia made this. I did not make the bath bombs. I wish I had the space for that. I really haven't had a lot of time to be crafty like that. But yeah, I love to buy them. I don't make them, but I do buy them. I buy them from Target. I bought these ones from Australia, shipped them in. They took forever to get here from a company that one of my coaching clients is associated with. So yeah, I bought these ones from Australia. I bought a couple from Target. Don't you guys love that? So yeah, I would love to talk to you guys. Watching the chat this morning, some things that really came up is, the language you use and how you see yourself. During yesterday's live, I talked about how to get out of your own damn way. So I don't sell these, Kelly. I've been giving them away. I know you're kind of newer in here. We've been running this for 21 days now. Yeah, 21 days. And so I've been giving these out as prizes. Every day I've been giving away one. So when we talk about, really stepping into our worth, because this is the wealth and worth. And when we talk about manifestation, what we're really talking about is creating the wealth, creating the abundance, and believing that you're worthy of it, right? I go into this really, really deep in my Woman of Wealth and Worth program, which is exactly what this whole summit was designed around, is around this program that has created major breakthroughs for women, huge breakthroughs, because we can wrinkle time. We can literally wrinkle time and create huge impacts in little time, because I studied the brain science. And so, you'll really be able to increase very rapidly, get into your worthiness and your wealth and start bringing in those 5 or 6 figure months that you're truly desiring. And so what I want to talk to you guys about today is that when we talk about brain science, we have this way, our brain, that we delete, we distort, and we generalize. At all points during our time, we are just like deleting. I'm watching your guys' comments too. Sorry, I got squirrel brain. We are deleting, distorting, and generalizing all information that comes into us. And this is why sometimes you can hear something and then like 2 seconds later, you actually don't even remember. I do this sometimes when I have a bunch of stuff going on in my head. My husband will say something and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I literally was not listening when you just asked me whatever you said. Like, can you repeat that? I hate to say that, but like sometimes, especially if I'm like coming off of a coaching call and I'm still processing what my client went through and what we're going through, and then my husband comes home and I'm like, I'm not there yet because I'm still like in their business with them. So we're constantly deleting, distorting, and generalizing information, all bits of information, and we are getting bombarded. I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head, but we're literally being bombarded with like millions of bits of information coming at us per day, right? Think about like TV, online, Facebook, Instagram, work, your kids, your whatever it is. Like you're being bombarded with information constantly. And so you're definitely like, you're always deleting, distorting, and generalizing information. And what I mean by that is you hear something and you're like, okay, that's not important. Like let's say you heard that Kellogg's cereal was on sale at Fred Meyer's or Kroger's or Ralph's, wherever you're at in the country. And you're like, okay, I don't need Kellogg's cereal, so you'll delete it. You'll forget that information, like, okay, that isn't important to me, delete it. This is why, sometimes if you hear some information and you might distort it based upon your own beliefs, based upon your own filter, you might distort information. Like, let's say, so we all have that like one person, right? That no matter what we hear about them, we want to gather evidence that person is bad or wrong or whatever, right? Like this could be Aunt Tammy. I'm sorry if you guys have an Aunt Tammy. I just made up a name. Aunt Tammy, you're like, oh, Aunt Tammy, she's just out to get everyone. She's selfish. And so you hear information about her. Like let's say you hear that Aunt Tammy got a new car and you're like, well, of course she did, because she's just out to get everybody and show everyone how great she is, right? So you might hear that information and distort it right away based upon your beliefs. Or you might generalize information. So if you hear that Aunt Tammy, let's change it up. You hear that Uncle Tom just got a divorce and you generalize it. You say, well, of course, because all men are pigs. All men are pigs. I'm sure that he cheated, right? So we're constantly, with all the millions of bits of information that are pounding and coming at us all the time, we are either deleting, distorting, or generalizing that information. And why is this important for you? Because each one of us, here's another thing about the brain science, about the brain. We always think about like how we are, and you guys know this information, you guys know this, but we're always thinking about, thoughts and words and all these things, but really the way that your brain operates is through pictures and video clips. Right? This is why you have that memory. Alicia, I never do that. Girl, I love you. So, you know how like we're always thinking in like pictures and we're thinking in movie clips. And this is why when you think back to a memory, you're not actually seeing it from your own eyes. You actually like see yourself in the movie. It's so weird when you realize this and you really go into it. Like, it's so weird when you think about this, but like you'll think about yourself riding a bike and you don't see yourself like looking out on the road. You think of yourself on the bike like a movie. Your brain creates this movie. So I really want to encourage you guys today to be looking at, how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? Like really, yes, visualization, girl. Yes, yes, yes. So how do you see yourself? Like what pictures and what movie clips are you playing in your mind about yourself? Because the thing that it is I used to live right next to Fred Meyer's in Portland. So the thing is, like, when you're visualizing yourself, when you think about yourself, what pictures and movies do you create about yourself? This could be, I'm going to go a little bit raw here and vulnerable, but I want to give you guys some examples. But this is like, so in my 20s, I got married at 18 and divorced by 23. And I had a very distorted idea of myself. And I thought that I gave up. I thought that, all of these things. So what ended up happening is because of my low self-esteem, my low self-worth, I developed a very debilitating eating disorder. I was kind of a chubby kid and got made fun of. And I was like, well, if I just lose a ton of weight and get really hot, like, I'm just being honest with you guys. If I just lose a ton of weight and get really hot, then it'll prove that I'm worthy, right? If I can just buy, rent this house for way too much money, or have this car, have this neighborhood, have this title, then I can have, I'll be okay. People will see me and just know that I'm great. So I ended up developing an eating disorder, and I would do weird things like drink broths and stuff instead of actually eating food, because I literally, the picture I saw of myself, even though I lost a ton of weight, I still saw this picture of myself that was like, when I would play the movie, I was really fat and I was chubby and I wasn't good enough, but I was like scary thin. I was like scary thin. And, this is the way that sometimes the pictures we play of ourselves can be so off base. Are you guys getting that? It can be so off base. We can believe that we are unconfident, that we're, ugly, that we're too old, that we're too young. We can have this picture and this framework around who we believe we are. And, my point in sharing this is you are literally hypnotizing yourself with the pictures you're feeding yourself about who you are. We're talking about wealth and worthiness here. So when we talk about that, you're hypnotizing yourself with the words, the language, and the pictures that you're giving your brain. And even if your subconscious, even if your conscious mind is wanting to believe something else, this is why sometimes you can do all the work and the affirmations and the visualizations and it's not working. It's just not clicking. Because with the pictures you're putting in your mind consistently, your subconscious mind is actually more powerful. It's driving 90% of your life. So I want you to really be aware of the pictures and the words and the movies that you're playing about who you are. You talking about you can be very dangerous. So just be aware of that. Let's see, Kelly says, I miss Portland. Now hearing about Fred Meyers. Yes, girl, yes. I don't miss Portland right now with all the riots and stuff going on. Oh my gosh. Kelly, I love those pictures. I told you that I cut out and put it on my face on the creep. Yes, girl, yes. I did that when I first wanted to get on stage. I literally cut a picture out. I can't even remember whose body I used. I think it was this woman. Her name is Terry Savelle Foy. And I put my head on her body, and with all the crowd, she was in this huge stage with all these people, and you guys, it came true. So if you think that's silly, don't think it's silly, because I laughed at it the first couple times, but then it started feeling comfortable, and it worked. Within, I can't even tell you, I think it was 9 months from when I started doing that picture, and then I created another picture of me with a microphone talking at my wedding, and a crowd, and I had that on my phone. I put my visualizations on my phone sometimes. I had that on my phone. Within 6 months, I was invited to be on stage, and from there on out, the stages have been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the crowds bigger and bigger. I mean, not right now during COVID. That all stopped in March, but I was supposed to be on a cruise ship with 10,000 people speaking on stage in April before COVID shut down. Earlier this month, I was supposed to be in 2 conferences, one in Portland, Oregon, the other one in Seattle, and I was supposed to be in front of tons of people. That's now put off till October, but no matter what picture you create, it will happen. If you have that belief, if you do the right techniques, if you get to the worthiness, if you get to the root cause, like Kelly can tell you, she knows how to get to the root cause now. We did that yesterday in a very powerful breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough session. We were able to get to that cause quickly. One woman had been carrying it for 50 years, and boom, right to the root. Boom, right to the root. Like, amazing stuff. So, let me see what else you said. I love those pictures. I told, yes. Kelly, Alicia says, yes, I've gained and lost hundreds of pounds in my life. Couldn't ever see myself as anything else but fat and equated to unworthy. Yes. Oh my gosh. That shows up in Alicia. It's so funny you say that because, I mean, this is something you and I don't usually talk about, but yeah, like I remember I was so attached to being this fat kid because I was a fat kid. I was a chubby kid growing up. And, I, even when I was thin, I was still so attached because I had so many anchors. I had so many like painful memories about being chubby. And like my sister was rail thin. It's funny because we're now opposite, but she was like rail thin and beautiful and all the boys liked her. And she was very like, she knew how to get the boys' attention. And I was a tomboy. I was a chubby tomboy. And so I had so much pain around like her friends making fun of me and her boyfriends making fun of me and all these things that I was literally like, I was still had the picture of myself, and I realized that I was causing myself harm by, starving myself and exercising too much and all of these things. This is why I used to do like marathons and I would make myself run, even, like all these crazy things, because I was still so attached to being the fat kid. Like that was my identity. In a way, I actually stayed safe. Because to go even deeper on this, you guys, I know this isn't the topic, but to go even deeper, fat, for most people, and this isn't true for every person everywhere, in every part of the world, but a lot of times the actual protection mechanism of fat is there to protect you from the world. And that was 100% my story because of the abuse I had endured as a child. I thought that if I was chubby, because I didn't like men to look at me at all when I was a kid. I thought that if I kept the fat on me, that I could wear baggy clothes, and that's why I was a tomboy, because I wanted to protect myself from the hurt that I had endured as a child. So, that for me was a protective mechanism. It's literally keeping you from the world, keeping the world from you. So I'm not saying that's true for everyone everywhere, but, a lot of times, especially in the work I do with getting to root causes and getting to root beliefs from people, once they realize that, all of a sudden rapid changes are happening. They're creating the wealth they've always desired. All of a sudden their bank account goes up to 5 or 6 figures and they're able to like lose weight effortlessly, because it's like a protective mechanism because of how we view ourselves in the world. Does that make sense, you guys? So Kelly says it's so hard. I feel your feelings right now. See it, imagine it, believe it. You can do it. Yes, girl. Yes. Pamela, you're my soul sister, girl. I love it. It's all pictures. Yes, it's all pictures. It's crazy. Pamela says, for years, I didn't think I was good enough to do anything because that is what I was told as a child, but then I started to believe in myself and slowly built my worth up. Yes. Oh my gosh. I say this all the time. And, I don't know your story, Pamela. I would love, maybe we could connect sometime and just talk about it a little bit. But, I know that even if we're not like, you may or may not have been told specifically you're not good enough. And if you were, I'm so sorry that was your experience. And sometimes we're also like led to believe that by well-meaning adults who just want us to be better. And sometimes, that really creates some damage that will last for years. I believe that, I shared this yesterday in my July cash comeback, but I believed that because my father left, we had a ton of money when he was around. He was a successful salesman, which is so weird that him and I ended up like, we have the same story, even though I don't know him. He was a very successful businessman. And so we had this like really nice house. We had everything we wanted. He also was an alcoholic and a cocaine addict. And so when my mom left him, all of a sudden we were broke, having to, eat top ramen and hot dogs and, all the things that you do when you're growing up broke. Like, I remember one year we even wore like trash bags. My mom made it so fun, you guys, but we wore trash bags for Halloween. I wore a black one, my sister wore a white one, and she was the good witch and I was the bad witch. Like, this is how broke we were. But you know what? It was always fun. Like, we always had a good time. My mom, just bless her heart, she made it so fun. But we went from being like having a ton of money and no worries to being broke. And like, I remember us we were living in Wyoming, I believe, and there was this huge snowstorm and we had to like trudged through this snowstorm because my mom's car broke down. Like, you know, we went from having a brand new Bronco, which were like a big thing back in the 80s, you know, I think it was like 86 or something, and to like having a broken down car, right? And having to move all the time. And, you know, like, it's crazy what beliefs you can pick up from that. Like, I remember believing that I wasn't worthy of money because why, like, my dad would be around if I was, you know, that like for us to have money meant that my mom would have to get abused or my mom would have to get beat up or any of these things. Like, I would create these beliefs that were so nuts. And I literally carried this for decades of my life. Like, it's crazy. And the thing is, until I started doing this work that I teach now in the Woman of Wealth and Worth program, until I started really diving into the work, I didn't even know I was believing these things that I was believing. I did not even know it was true and it was real and it was the picture that I was carrying, right? Insane. So it was unreal. We could hide. Yes, absolutely. We could always hide. I'm so glad I found out at 27 I could work on it. Yes, girl. Oh my gosh, you and me both. I was 28 before I really started like actually putting action behind the things. Like, I knew up here, just like we talked about yesterday, Kelly, I knew up here all the things. I read all the books, read all the self-help books, did all the things, blah, 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 chanted, meditated, blah, 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 all the things ad infinitum. I knew it here, but I didn't actually know it here. I didn't actually put action to it. And so the last thing I want to encourage you guys to do is, what do you believe, or how do you believe that other people see you? I'm going to repeat that. How do you believe that other people see you? And this might be a little bit of a shakeup for you. Like, what? Val, you're crazy. What you talking about, Val? Like, what? But I really encourage you guys to pay attention to this over the next 24 hours. And how this shows up is exactly like we've been talking about. You think in pictures, stories, and movies. Pictures, stories, movies. This could be your husband, your boyfriend, your crush, other people in the world, your boss, people you come across throughout your day. Have you ever, oh my gosh, this is such a good example. This morning, my plan was to come on here at 10 o'clock. My husband's going out of town to work for the rest of the week, and then we're going up to Portland because I'm going to be baptizing a couple people. Pretty freaking crazy, but I'm going to be baptizing some people in the Willamette River. So he's going to be out of town for the rest of the week, and this morning he had to like ship this bike and all of these things, and he started getting really huffy. This does not happen very often. I've seen my husband this upset 3 times in my life. We've been together now 5 years. 3 times. 3 times I've seen him this mad. And so he's huffing around the garage, upset because it's going to cost him all this money to ship his bike. He has to ship it to Seattle. He's like now running an hour late. He's huffing around in the garage. And immediately, the movie playing in my head was that somehow I did something wrong. I have to fix it. And he's expecting me to jump in and fix it because this is just what I do, right? This is just where I go. And so because of the work I've done, progress, not perfection, I am not perfect at this. Let me tell you, you will still have those pictures come up. But as soon as I saw that movie playing, that he was somehow like, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, he's somehow expecting me to go in there, me to fix it. I'm going to have to spend my entire day figuring out this bike situation, figuring the box, doing all this, doing these things. I realized in that moment, wow, I'm playing the same old movie. I'm playing that tape, I'm playing the movie, and I'm thinking that I somehow, Alicia's going to understand this one, I have to go get my red cape and put it on. You know, the big cape with the V on it that says Val saves the day. I'm going to go get my red cape and fix this somehow. So I didn't have to. Like, I didn't have to do that. He never said that. He was frustrated. He was an hour late now getting on the road. You know, he's traveling like 2 hours. That's not what it was. So like I was playing that movie, and when I realized that, I got to sit for a moment and go, okay, I created an expectation. I created an expectation that's not real. I was distorting the information and I was generalizing it. So I got to go back and I got to delete that. And I got to hold space. I went in the garage and I said, babe, how can I help you? How can I make this easier? He said, can you hold this box for me? Great. So I held the box while he taped it. We figured it out. It all went about. Things were okay. Things were okay. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, what is the movie? And this might be your initial reaction. Or, you know, if you get a text message from that one person, what movie are you creating about the belief that they have about you? What are you deciding? What reality are you creating that may or may not be real? And how can you flip the script? How can you say, okay, and this is one of the biggest things, you guys, I use and I teach my clients is when those things come up, I go, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that I would somehow create this belief or this idea that I somehow have to step in and do something, or that they're thinking something about me? I don't know how to read minds. I do a lot of brain science. I can help you dig to the root of your belief and help you pluck that out. But I'll ask you a lot of questions because I can't read minds. I don't read minds. I'm a neuro-linguistic programmer, which, I mean, like, that's neither here nor there, but, like, I don't read minds. I help you uncover, discover, and discard what's really going on. But what pictures, movies, stories, and beliefs are you believing other people have about you? These three things, let's go over this again. The language you use, how you believe you see yourself, and how you believe others see you. These three things, if you pay attention to these three things, they are going to create a huge difference in your life, in your worthiness, in your confidence level, how you show up in the world, how you believe you have to show up in the world, all the things. It's going to make a huge difference for you. So I want to just encourage you guys to watch the language you use, pay attention to the pictures, the stories, and the beliefs you're creating about yourself, and the pictures and stories that you're creating about how others see you, because what you picture in your mind and what you visualize becomes your thoughts, which become your beliefs, which become your reality. These three steps, these three things are going to make a huge difference for you, and I cannot wait. I hope you guys will I hope you guys will come back in here or reach out to me, connect to me, and let me know what works for you. And if you want a little more coaching or guidance around this, just put coaching, guidance, Val, help me, whatever in the comments. I'll come back and connect with you, or we can like voice memo over Facebook Messenger. You can video message me. You can just message me, pop in my inbox, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So I love you guys so much. I hope this really helped. I hope that you got something out of this information. Let me know what landed for you. What were your takeaways? What are you hearing that really stuck out for you? Because I would love to come back and either do a live or connect with you or just offer more training around any of this information. Sound good? Thank you guys so much for hanging out today. This has been gorgeous. I am super, super excited that we extended this entire summit for the rest of the week. I have some, you're so welcome, Pamela. You're so, so welcome. Oh, I almost forgot to do the drawing. So if you want to get in this drawing, all you need to do is either screenshot a part of this live or post on social media, either on Facebook or Instagram. Oh, yay, yay, yay. You are so welcome, Pamela. I would love to connect with you. So either post on Instagram or Facebook. You can tag me, Val Nichols, or Val Nichols Coaching on Facebook. On Instagram, it's ITS Val Nichols, just like my name. If you post it, say like, wow, great training, love this takeaway, love this idea about visualization and pictures in your mind, stories you're telling yourself, whatever you want to say, tag me in it, or invite one of your girlfriends into this group that needs to hear this. Like, don't be Spamela Anderson. Don't be spammy. Nobody likes that. But if you have a girlfriend that you know wants to be in here, reach out and let her know, hey, come join this summit because it's amazing. Then I'm going to put you in this drawing because sharing is caring. And today I'm going to give away this beautiful bath bomb. It's a super cute heart so that you can go take your beautiful goddess bath and treat yourself like the queen that you are. And this is a black cherry champagne bubble bomb, bath bomb. And it's like blue and pink. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to give this away. And the winner today is, I love this part. I love it. Generosity, giving. I love it. Creates abundance, all the things. So today's winner is Sally Saxton. You are the winner chicken dinner of this really cute, super adorable bath bomb. It is on the way to your house. And ladies, I just want to tell you that on Friday, let me think. I'm trying to think what's aligned. So on Friday, we have a big celebration call. This will be the end of the summit. This is on Friday is the end of the Woman of Wealth and Worth. I have a huge celebration call we're going to do. So get ready. Bring your wine glasses full of, mine is full of passion fruit bubbly water because that's how I roll. I don't drink alcohol, but I love to celebrate. So I'm going to bring a champagne glass of my favorite LaCroix. They should really sponsor me. I'm honestly like, maybe I should reach out and get a sponsorship. But I'm going to bring a glass of LaCroix, bring all of the things, bring all the vibes, because this is going to be a celebration call like never before. It is going to be amazing, fantastic, high vibe, beautiful, gorgeous, abundant, amazing, and it is all for you. So I cannot wait to share that with you. You guys, on Friday, we're going to have our celebration call at 10 o'clock a.m. on Friday, this Friday. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you so much. Thanks for tuning in for the Woman of Wealth and Worth Summit. Go out and have a wealthy, worthy, abundant day because you are courageous, you are powerful, and you are abundant. See you later. Mwah. Bye. Yay! How exciting. It's going to be exciting. Can't wait to show you. Love you.